Hello students, in our last class we have seen about the composition of nucleus and isotopes, isobars, isotones, and also general properties of nucleus, that is nuclear mass, nuclear density. So today we will be moving further with Einstein's mass energy relation. The concept of mass energy relation was given by Einstein, where he assumed mass and energy are interconvertible. Before going to this, what the classical theory says. According to classical theory, mass and energy are two separate quantities, but Einstein assumed, or Einstein took mass and energy are interconvertible, means they are not two separate quantities. Instead of taking mass and energy as two different or two separate quantities, Einstein took mass and energy as a same quantities which are interconvertible. So he gave us a relation as E is equal to mc square. The factor c square is a conversion factor. Okay, in his relation, c square is a conversion factor. Now, in this, m is mass of the particle, whereas c is the velocity of light. So, Einstein's mass energy relationship. So, according to classical theory, mass and energy are two separate quantities, but Einstein had a concept where mass and energy are same quantities and are interconvertible, and he gave the relationship E is equal to mc square. Here c square is a conversion factor and m is the mass of the particle, c is the velocity of light. A good example for this is pair production. Here, in case of pair production, energy is converted into mass, and the next example is pair annihilation. Here, mass is converted into energy. So, what do you mean by pair production and pair annihilation? So, pair annihilation, let us see it first. Pair annihilation is nothing but when an electron and positron come very close to each other, they annihilate. Means, here is the electron and here is the positron. Okay, when they come close to each other, what happens? They destroy each other. Annihilation is nothing but destroying each other. Okay, so what happens when an electron and a positron come close to each other? They destroy each other or they annihilate. Means during this process their masses are converted. Okay, their masses are converted into energy, and it is radiated in the form of gamma rays. So pair annihilation is nothing but destroy. Therefore, when an electron and the positron comes close to each other, they destroy each other, exhibiting, that is, converting mass into energy in the form radiation in the form of gamma rays. Now what is pair production then? As the word says, pair production, I think you can guess it, what pair production it is. In this process, a gamma ray photon with sufficient energy, okay, a gamma ray photon is nothing but light, right? Photon is nothing but it's a packet of energy, right? So when gamma ray photon with sufficient energy collides with the nucleus, what happens? It creates an electron-positron pair. So electron-positron pair. Due to gamma ray photon, what happens? With the sufficient energy, they collide with the nucleus of an atom. Therefore, in the formation of electron and positron, pair of electron and positron. Therefore, we have got the pair production. As the name indicates, there is a pair production. Here, energy of gamma ray is converted into mass. So this is about Einstein's mass energy relationship. So Einstein's mass energy relationship is, according to classical theory, mass and energy are two separate quantities. But in Einstein's concept, he took mass and energy as the same quantity and are interconvertible. So he gives the relationship E is equal to mc square. E is the energy, m is the mass of the particle, c is the velocity of light, c square is nothing but the conversion factor. So for examples for this to prove is pair production and pair annihilation. Pair annihilation is nothing but when an electron and positron are close to each other, they destroy each other. Therefore, their mass is converted into energy in the form of gamma rays. And pair production is nothing but when a gamma photon with sufficient energy collides with the nucleus of a particle or an atom, then there will be an electron and positron pair. Therefore, a pair production. So, gamma ray energy is converted into mass in this case. So, we have Einstein mass energy relation has mc square. Now, let us see energy equivalent to 1U. 1U is nothing but 1 atomic mass unit. So, we have E is equal to mc square. If you substitute m as 1U, that is 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27 kg. We have seen in our previous class. And C we know 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. So if you substitute this here, 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27 kg, and we have 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, the whole square. Therefore, we will get E as 1.49 into 10 raised to minus 10 joule. So, kg meter square per second square. So, we have joule. This is nothing but the energy equivalent to 1 atomic mass unit. Now, next is electron volt. Electron volt is the unit of energy. Okay, it is a unit of energy. It is nothing but energy gained by an electron when accelerated through potential difference of 1 volt. It is energy gained by an electron when accelerated through potential difference of 1 volt. Now, 1 electron volt is nothing but 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule, right? So, we have E is equal to 1.49, the one here, into 10 raised to minus 10 joule, whereas 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule per electron volt, right? So, electron volt, if you take this side, you have here. So, we will be remaining with 9.31 into 10 raised to 8 electron volt. But you can write it as E is equal to 931 mega electron volt. Mega stands for 10 raised to minus 6 electron volt, is nothing but 1 mega electron volt. Okay. or if you take it has 1 U or 1 AMU is 931 mega electron volt. Okay, so we arrive in this way. One atomic mass unit is equivalent to 931 mega electron volt of energy. So once again I'll repeat, energy equivalent to 1 atomic mass unit. 1 U is nothing but 1 atomic mass unit. So we have the instance mass energy relationship, E is equal to mc square. Since it is atomic mass unit, let us take m as 1 atomic mass unit, that is 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27 kg, and we know C has 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Now substituting the value, we will get the value E is equal to 1.49 in 10 raised to minus joule. This is energy in 1 atomic mass unit. Now in case of electron volt is nothing but the unit of energy, and it is defined as energy gained by an electron when accelerated through potential difference of 1 volt. Therefore 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule. We have seen this. So when substituting for E, 1 by energy gained and the potential difference. So we will get 9.31 into 10 raised to 8 electron volt when we calculate this. Since joule are both sides, they will be get cancelled and we will remain with electron volt. When we get this, E is equal to 931 mega electron volt. 1 mega electron volt is nothing but 10 raised to 6 electron volt. Therefore 1 atomic mass unit is equal to 931 mega electron volt of energy. Next, let's move on. Next topic is about mass defect. What mass defect is? So mass defect is nothing but it's a difference between the mass of constituent nucleons of the nucleus in a free state and the actual mass of the nucleus. So we have seen the nuclear mass, right? What nuclear mass is? So we have seen nuclear mass, right? Nuclear mass is sum of masses of all the nucleons, right? That is, M is nothing but Z MT plus A minus Z Mn, right? We have seen what nuclear mass is. It is a sum of masses of all the nucleons present in it, right? Now we are seeing about the mass defect, right? Mass defect is nothing but is defined as difference between, so difference between nucleons, mass of nucleons, that is nothing but nuclear mass, okay? Mass of nucleons of the nucleus, which is in a free state, and the actual mass. That is, let us denote mass defect as delta M, difference between mass of nucleons of the nucleus, that is this, right? Z M P plus A minus Z M N to in the free state, and the actual mass, let us take actual mass as M. So once again I'll repeat, mass defect is nothing but it is the difference between mass of nucleons of the nucleus in the free state and the actual mass of the nucleus. So we know mass of nucleons of the nucleus, that is given by Z Mp plus A minus Z Mn, and minus M is that by the actual mass of the nucleus. So here delta M represents mass defect, Z, you know, atomic number, mass of proton, A minus Z, that is N, number of neutrons, Mn is number of mass of neutron, and M is the actual mass of the nucleus. Now let us get one example for this. If we have some, if we have to find the mass defect of carbon 12, now what and all are given here for to substitute here. So Z is 6 here. We know the value of mass of proton, that is 1.00728 plus 6. Why 6? A minus 12 minus 6 is 6, therefore we have 6, and we know the value of Mn, that is mass of neutron, as 1.00867, and the whole mass is 12. If you substitute, you will get somehow 0.0957 atomic mass unit. In this way you can find. So the mass of carbon 12 is smaller by 0.0957 AMU than the actual mass of carbon 12. Okay. So next let's see binding energy. What binding energy is? It is denoted as EB. Okay. Binding energy is denoted as EB. Now let us see what binding energy is. So binding energy, the total energy required to disintegrate the nucleus into its constituent particles. In disintegrate means, so this and total energy required to disintegrate the nucleus into its constituent. So binding energy is nothing but total energy required to disintegrate the nucleus into its constituent particles. Means it is the energy required. Total energy required to disintegrate the nucleus means total energy required to break the nucleus into its constituent particles or separate the nucleus into its constituent particles. That is nothing but the binding energy. Or in other words, you can say as binding energy is nothing but it is equivalent to mass defect. So mass defect of the nucleus. That is EB is equal to delta m c square. Delta m is nothing but the mass defect. So here EB is the binding energy of the nucleus. So students, clear about binding energy, right? So binding energy is nothing but energy required to disintegrate the nucleus into its constituent particle. Means energy required to separate the nucleus into its constituent particle. Or in other words, you can say binding energy is equivalent to mass defect. That is delta m. So EB is the binding energy of the nucleus, delta m is the mass defect, and c square is the conversion factor, right? Or the speed of light. Now let us take some example. If you take the lightest stable atom, that is deuteron. So in case of deuteron, it has one proton and one neutron, right? So that is nothing but it is denoted as in this way. Now let us first find delta m, because we need delta m right here in order to find binding energy. Therefore we know z here, it is nothing but 1, and we know the value of mp, plus here you have a minus z, 2 minus 1 is 1, therefore you can directly write 1.0086 minus actual mass, that is 2.0141. Now if you calculate, you will get somehow 0.0022 u, that is 0.0022 atomic mass unit. Now we got delta m, we know c square, therefore we can get EB as 0.0022 u into 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second the whole square. Therefore EB will be somewhat 2.22 mega electron volt, right? Or you can write EB as, or you can write EB unit has delta m into 931 mega electron volt. 931 megavolt is nothing but 1 U, right? So you can substitute in this way also. Now let us see about specific binding energy. We have seen binding energy. Now let us move on with specific binding energy. What specific binding energy means? It is nothing but energy required to remove a nucleus from the nucleons from the nucleus, and it gives the stability. So here binding energy was that energy required to separate the nucleus into its constituent particles, but specific binding energy is that energy required to remove nucleons from nucleus. And specific binding energy measures the stability of the nucleus. Stability of the nucleus can be measured by using specific binding energy. So greater the binding, specific binding energy, I'll write SBE, okay. So greater the specific binding energy, then what happens to the stability? Greater will be the stability. So once again I'll repeat, your binding energy is nothing but energy required to separate the nucleus into its constituent particle, but specific binding energy is that energy required to remove nucleons from nucleus. That is, it is a measure of stability of the nucleus. Greater the specific binding energy, greater will be the stability of the nucleus. So it is represented as EBN. So you can write specific binding energy as binding energy per nucleon. You know what binding energy is per nucleon. Nucleon is nothing but A, right? So in other words, you can write specific binding energy is nothing but binding energy per nucleon. So binding energy is given as EB, and A is the nucleon, number of proton as well as number of neutron. Now if you substitute for A, so specific binding energy is equal to E is nothing but delta M C square, and here you have A, or you can write EBN as ZMP plus A minus ZMN minus M into C square by A. Here what happens, what we will be remaining with is delta M into 931 mega electron volt by A. You know why this is here, we have already discussed it in our previous topic. So specific binding energy is given as delta M into 931 mega electron volt by mass number. Mass number is nothing but total number of protons plus neutrons, number of neutrons, okay.